Hello, everybody. I'm broadcasting to you live from outer fucking space today.
Our illustrious champion returns.
What's up, Paul? Paul bringing us
Welcome
snake
home.
facts. Paul, I just want to know, could you use a snake as an intestines? Probably the answer is no. So hello, everybody, and welcome to this evening stream. Thank you for coming. If you're watching this on YouTube, well, you missed the boat. I'm going to be like answering questions sometimes from the audience, and you missed it. But that's okay. That's okay. You still get to watch the video. Everybody else, yo, what's up? Hi, welcome to the Twitch stream where we do this thing. Today, this is sort of the very first, like, official kind of step into what is soon going to be the named and not unnamed, definitely not called Swansong 2 or anything related to Swansong 2, or even really mentioning birds at all, Stars Without Number Roleplay Campaign 2018. Hashtag blessed. So the plan is to play a game of Stars Without Number, to bring it on back, do those faction turns, and to have you run the factions. Yes, that's right, you. I mean, as long as you're like a patron of roleplay at any level, you'll get a vote, hopefully. Unless you join a faction made up of fascists, in which case, I don't know, overthrow them or change factions. So I'll talk more in detail about the ways you're going to be able to get involved in that campaign and in the back end and play the faction turn with me on a month-to-month basis when we have the technology to do so. It's being correlated right now. Right now, I don't even have factions for you to play, but we will talk a little bit about that today. What I want to do today is sit down with the rule book. I've had a chance to go through it and figure out some stuff, and I wanted to sit down with you and talk about kind of what you could expect out of the new campaign. That will be the plan. Because for me, and this has been true for the whole time I've been doing this, what's important is that you watch because you're interested in the characters in the world, but that the game and stuff is there to be interesting too. I want you to know, why the roles matter and what all the classes are and all that shit. And so the very first thing I always do when I start a new campaign is I go through the rules. Like no shit, right? I find doing this on stream is really helpful for me because maybe you have some experience with the game, maybe you have some questions I wouldn't have considered. We'll flip through it together, talk about all the major stuff, and I'll talk about how I want to apply these rules to my campaign. Now, keep in mind that everything that we do, all the stuff that we do on these streams prior to the campaign actually happening could change. So if I tell you about some of the factions today, they might change before we go live. If I tell you I want to include or don't want to include certain rules, that might change before we go live. And then because it's a role-playing game, as we play, we might, as a group, find excuses to change the rules. So we might do that as we play. So today is really about the very first touch on Stars Without Number. This thing. Yeah, this bad boy here. So Stars Without Number, the rule set, and this is true of both editions, the rule set for Stars Without Number belongs to a family of rules that people call the OSR, right? The old school Renaissance or the old school revival, some people call it that. Stars Without Number is interesting because it uses rules from basic Dungeons & Dragons, Moldvay style D&D, which I would argue is the basis of all OSR games. But it also pulls from another game called Traveler. Beautiful, beautiful Traveler. Traveler is an awesome game. Came out in 1979. It's one of the oldest games that I have a physical copy of. It's 3 little black booklets in a box. It is a very cool old game. Definitely worth checking out. This game combines some of the things I love about Moldvay, some of the things I love about Traveler, and it creates this brand new game. And from what I can tell, the revised version fixes a bunch of stuff I didn't like about the old version, updates and adjusts and does some really cool stuff with it. And I am super excited to get into it and talk about it. So, I'm not going to be doing like a rule by rule assessment and analysis. We're just kind of like looking at the top level. I'm going to answer some questions about how I'm going to apply these rules as far as I can. And we just want to kind of get familiar with the game prior to playing it and look at some of the cool rules and stuff. I am super excited. For me, a new edition of Stars Without Number coming out is as significant. No, you know what? It's more significant. Revised edition Stars Without Number coming out was more significant to me than like The Force Awakens coming out. A new role-playing game, like a new edition of a role-playing game that I already love, gets me excited in a way that I can't even express to you. It's one of my favorite things in life. So, new edition of Stars Without Number. We're going to take a look at it. This PDF, this guy right here, this is the core rules, I guess. There should be a free version as well if you would like also to check it out, but it might be missing some stuff that my version has. This is the version that I got from doing the Kickstarter, backing the Kickstarter. So let's dive in, shall we? Yeah, let's do it. Thanks, Drummer Boy. Okay, cool. Revised edition, Stars Number. So first off, hang on. I'm gonna get something. I'm gonna show you something. I don't have a graphic I can show you here, but I can put it up on screen. Let me get something for you. Hang on. I want to show you something. All right, where is this thing?
You have returned.
Sorry, I broke reality. I used all my psychic power points. Okay, so we're back. I've retorn a hole in the wall. What I wanted to show you was this. Okay, this is Stars Without Number first edition. I hate this cover. I hate it. It's so, I don't like it. Look at it. My Stars Without Number games will never look like this. This is not what I want. I don't like it. It's grody. I'm not into it. It's stupid. It's a stupid cover. Like it's fine art, but it's not good for me. I don't need this like Asari Mass Effect looking whatever. Not into it. I did also want to show you this. I just wanted to brag about. Look at it. This is how they used to make role-playing games. Little video cassette sized box. This is Traveler. Hi, I'm Traveler. I'm from the Game Design Workshop. This is Free Trader Beowulf calling anyone. Mayday, mayday, we're under attack. Main drive is gone. Turret number 1 not responding. Mayday, losing cabin pressure fast. Free Trader Beowulf. We're fucked. So this is Traveler. This is a game. It's like in a little box. Look at that art. Look at that guy. And it came with these little booklets. So this is how, because this game came out right after basic, like original D&D. And so this is the rules, right? Characters in combat, starships, worlds in adventure. And I got book 4 mercenary. I also have some like other miscellaneous horse shit in here. But yeah, this was the original. It's the OG. It's the very earliest space RPG I think that was ever released. And it's very cool. It's a cool game. So anyway, let's take a look at this cover. This is so much better. Fuck, it's so much nicer. Don't you think? Look at this. It's just like understated and it's got a nice glow to the text. The revised edition is nice and subtle. The circular shape of the nebula really just like, oh, I love this cover, especially compared to that last one. This is a much, much better cover. And I got to tell you, Kevin learned a lot about design between editions, right? Like that holds true. This design holds true for the whole rest of the book. Look at this. Great title page, excellent font choice. And then the whole book just follows. It all follows from that. It looks so much better. Some of the art is still like, this is not what, like this one, this is not what my game would look like, but like interior art has a lot more freedom to do that. So, you know, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the book. So what do we got? What do we got in this book? So this is, right, I'm analyzing the book by its cover. It's, hi, hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Adam Coble, and I like to be judgmental about design. So this is what the game is about. These are the main categories of the game. We got some fiction stuff at the beginning. We got character creation, hugely important. Psionics are true. For me, psionics are a huge inherent part of Stars Without Number. I couldn't imagine playing a Stars Without Number game without that. Like I couldn't envision it. So psionics, character creation, psionics, systems. So these are all the rules of the game. Equipment and vehicles, starships, Starship Combat. Oh my God, it's so much better now. Starship Combat. And then we get history of space, sector creation, adventure creation, xenobestiary, factions, GM resources, and then extra stuff, right? The extra stuff. So like transhuman campaigns, space magic, heroic characters, true AI, societies, and mechs. So I think pretty much all the stuff after GM resources doesn't exist in the free rules, but we'll poke at some of this stuff. There are certain things I'm definitely excluding and certain things I'm definitely including. So when I sat down to figure out what I wanted in this game, I made a point of writing down, and this is what I do when I prep new rule sets. I sat down with my rule book, and I don't know if you can see this. It's probably too bright. Boop. Yeah, so I made notes. I made about 5 pages of notes, flipping through the book and just noting what I think would be important. And this isn't so that I can refer to them. This isn't like a cheat sheet. It's just that the way my brain works, I transfer information best when I write it down. So I made notes, but what I started with, the very first thing that I did was I wrote down what I do and do not want in my game. So from the rules, from this game, what I definitely want to allow are obviously human PCs. That's like a given. That's a default, right? Synthetic human PCs will be allowed. So this will be very different from the other game in that Cylon style cuisine, delicious. Cylon style synthetics, right? Synth humans, Blade Runner style replicants, totally allowed. We'll talk about that later when we get there. Psychic powers, jump drives like FTL by way of the spike drives, cybernetics, totally a thing, like brain computers, that kind of stuff. But bans the things I did not want in my game, alien PCs. Alien PCs are not allowed. I don't want that in my game. That's just my preference as someone who I want human sci-fi. So if a player is really, really aggressively like, I have to be an alien, I will probably be like, okay, let's talk about what you like about the idea of being an alien. And I don't want you to be a fucking space elf or whatever, right? Like you have to be, this isn't Nebula Jazz. You have to be extremely different than a human. And I just don't think it's possible in the same way I don't think that true AI are really possible to play as characters because you're a human. Your brain is human. It's very difficult. I don't want you playing a human with a sparkly suit. This is not Star Trek, right? So, alien PCs are banned. HAL 9000 Skynet Shodan style AI, not allowed. Not only not allowed as players, but I am personally banning them for myself. Now, this is hard because I love that kind of AI. I fucking love it. I am banning it. Adam, banned. No, not allowed. Okay. Right? Like this is a rule I have to stick to myself. I'm not allowing it in the game because we already did that shit. Swan Song was all about that. So, no Warmind, none of that. So not going to happen. I don't want evil robot gods to be a thing. I want this game to be focused elsewhere. No magic. Psionics, yes. People worshiping psionicists as gods? Yeah. Oh yeah. Hells yeah. Psychic cults? Fuck yes. Psychic assassins and cyber ninja with blades made out of mental energy? Fuck yes. No space magic. This is not, we're not doing heavy metal, right? No wizards flying around on fucking pterodactyloids. So none of that. Transhuman PCs, no. NPCs of like TL6 plus, yes, because I have an idea for a faction. I could see someone being from that faction, but being an exile, right? Somebody with like their stack messed up or whatever. But I feel like if we do this to like, if I allow one person to be like a transhuman character with like a bunch of sleeves and they play all of those, everyone has to do it or no one has to do it. And I don't want this game to be that. That's not what I'm interested in. But there will be a faction. I've talked about a faction being present that's like that. And we'll talk about factions and stuff and ideas that I have for there when we get there. So off the top of my head, those are my allowances and bans. We'll kind of see what else comes up. But my thoughts for this game, and I've talked about this a bunch, but it's worth saying it now. I want to do less like scrappy losers on a spaceship, less Millennium Falcon, less Firefly, right? More Dune, right? I want this game to be about Gurney Halleck and Paul Atreides and fucking the Fremen and shit. I want it to be that style. I want it to be imperial sci-fi. I want it to be, in some senses, I want it to feel like Nine Fox Gambit, or I want it to feel like Ancillary Justice, right? I want it to feel like the Culture series, minus all the AI stuff, right? I'm Butlerian Jihad here. I want weird space religions. I want psychic powers. I want ancient and elder noble houses. I want that shit. I don't want. You know what? Also, I want though. I want giant robots. I want giant fucking robots. I want like 3-story tall fucking railguns for arms, BattleTech style robot battles. I want that. I want that a lot. That is on my yes list for sure. If it would please me so deeply if one of the characters in this game was a hotshot mecha pilot. Like I would die of delight. I think that would be so fucking cool. Especially because they could be like a young prince or something too. Like, oh, it'd be so good. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. Inspired again by like, my main inspiration is going to be like early 70s, late 60s sci-fi, not the psychedelic stuff, but the kind of like Imperialia stuff, the big sci-fi. But military. I want them to belong to an arm of a branch of some noble house. The ship they're on is going to be owned by a noble house. They'll have, and we'll talk about that role. But yeah, that's my idea, is that the characters will be crew of a ship, members of a community of people on like a corvette, who their faction is at war with another faction or multiple factions. And I think they'll be, military sci-fi, pushing a little bit into space opera, maybe pushing a little bit back into the kind of Baroque imperial sci-fi, but we'll move around in that space. That's where I'm coming from. Now, I'm going to ask the players like, yo, what sci-fi do you love, right? What makes you excited about playing a sci-fi game? And I'm going to work in that stuff with them, right? So if somebody says to me like, yo, my favorite sci-fi is Destiny, and I'll be like, okay, why? Why do you like Destiny? What do you like about the setting? Somebody might say to me like, my favorite sci-fi is Battlestar Galactica. My favorite sci-fi is Overwatch, right? Like whatever people love about sci-fi, I am going to boil down in the acidic soup of my game master brain, and I'm going to help them make characters that will help them and us explore that space, right? The shit that they like. And so that'll be the plan. I'm going to figure out what they like, and we're going to build the whole world around what I want as the game master and what I want as a player with a creative direction for the game, and what they want as players. So that's the plan. And this is why it's so important for me to have a cast complete, because I need that input. I need to know what the fuck they want. So all I can do is come to the table with my ideas. So we'll talk about that as we move through the rule book. Okay? So let's talk about the rules in the game. So Kevin describes to us the basic concepts of the game, right? We talked about the old school Renaissance thing. This version of the game is still the same. The characters are not heroes. You will see how lethal combat is. They are driven by their own goals. Their goals might overlap, but it's a tool. It's a sandbox for sci-fi adventure, science fiction adventure. That's what this game is about. Fundamentally about exploring a big universe and trying to make your mark on that universe. And so that's what our game is going to be about. And we are going to bend and alter and fuck with and change that game until it's exactly what we want. And that might change over time, right? Swan Song drifted back and forth, but it was always that same sort of pastiche of like grungy Firefly style scrappy loser sci-fi with some of the bigger stuff on top of it. Because that's like I tried to bring the philosophy. And we won't know what the themes of the game are until we've played them for a while, right? Loyalty might become part of the themes, family, profit. Like we'll learn the themes of the game as we play them. So yeah, I think it's going to be super excited. I have been hyped to play this game forever. Now, a big FAQ, big thing a lot of people have been asking me is, okay, how does this relate to Swan Song? So technically, this campaign will be set in the same universe as Swan Song. Technically. In the sense that the Earth exists in the same universe as every other star and planet and piece of space dust in our universe. Because in the game's history, Earth was here, right? Here's Earth. People developed psychic powers. Everybody flew off into the stars. Terrible thing happened. We lost contact with Earth and with each other. So Swan Song's over here. This new campaign's over here. And never the twain shall meet. They are separated. We're going to rewind back to the year 3200, right? The game will start New Year's Day, 3200 AD, in another sector, somewhere in another part of the universe. But a lot of the same stuff is going to be true, right? There are psychic powers. MES is a thing. FTL travel works the same way. Earth is out there somewhere, but we don't know where it is. And that's how it's going to go. Yeah, all the background lore, all the stuff leading up to that will be the same as you remember from Swan Song, but our story and our universe is going to be very different. So, we're going to make characters. Character creation is one of the first things that as a GM and players you interact with in a game. It's super important, right? How you create the vessel into which you're going to pour your desire is super important. And it's changed a little bit for Stars Without Number Revised. It's a little different than it used to be. So this is how character creation works. We roll attributes, right? In order. You know what? Fuck it. Do you want to make a character? Should we just make a character? Let's do it. Let's do that. Because this is the best possible way to learn character creation is just to do it. I've read through this already, but let's go through it step by step and we'll make a character. So I have a Stars Without Number account, a little test thing I built in Roll20, and we got a character all ready to get made. A character already here. Let's generate a character. So we need to roll our stats. We roll them in order. Yeah, should we make a hotshot mecha pilot? Yeah, fuck it. Let's make alternate universe Randy, and he's going to ride in the Randy bot. Okay, so we roll 6 attributes, rolling 3d6 6 times, and assign them in order. Now, we can do an array, but I'm going to encourage the players roll, because I kind of feel like this isn't 5th edition. Right? We don't need to baby our players. If we randomly roll the characters, we can then pick an attribute to change to 14 anyway, so the game's doing a fine job taking care of us. So I'm going to do it. We're just going to roll 3d6, and we're going to do this 6 times for our stats. So, Randy has a strength of 10. Randy has a dexterity of 9. Randy has a constitution of 14, which is great until you get shot in the back of the head. Randy has a intelligence of 11. This is the kind of characters that rolling generate. We get another 11 for wisdom. And we get a 9. Okay, so in pretty much every way, Randy is average, slightly higher than average constitution. Let's bump our strength up to 14. I think Randy's a rough and tumble kind of guy. I think he's gonna be a punch guy. Now, yeah, as was pointed out, the modifiers are very different than in... Yeah, Randy's a solid dude. Very different than they are in D&D. So the attribute modifiers, if it's a 3, that's -2. If it's an 18, it's +2. And everything in between is either -1, 0, or +1, with the vast majority being 8 to 13. So, like, these modifiers are super rare. They do not happen much. The reason why I like rolling for your character, and if you watched the Zweihander video that we did, the reason that I really like it is that it guides you into character creation. And just because a person might not be naturally talented at something doesn't mean they can't be that thing, right? Like, just because Randy doesn't have an intelligence of 18 doesn't mean he can't be an expert. In fact, I'm going to make him an expert. Also, if you want to go shoot for those Olympian heights, you have to roll. So, we roll our attributes, we write them down. This is all very basic stuff. And then we pick a background from the list on page 9. This reflects our character's past experience. So before you were a member of the crew of this vessel that we're going to use in our game, what were you? Now, I could roll randomly, which I think I'm going to do, but you could choose. So like you'd look and you could be, now our options are barbarian, clergy, courtesan, criminal, dilettante, entertainer, merchant, noble, official, peasant, physician, pilot, politician, scholar, soldier, spacer, technician, thug, vagabond, and worker. So this is what you did before you were a PC. It will give us some options. So let's roll randomly because I don't super care. I'm not going to be playing this character. So let's roll a d20. All right. This alternate universe Randy was a pilot. Well, that worked out nicely. Okay. Alternate universe Randy was a pilot. So, background, we can put pilot. Okay. And now, as a pilot, we get to, let's see here, roll for additional skills or pick them. Now, I love this. I love this set. So, if you pick the skills, you can choose 2 more from the learning table. With the exception of entries that say any skill, you can't pick entries from the growth table. If you roll 3 times. Now, this is very Traveler. This stuff is very, very Traveler. These little tables, if you've ever played Traveler, I love that he brought these back in as an inspiration because these are fucking awesome. So, in Randy's young life, as a pilot, we're going to roll randomly for what happened to him. So let's see. We get to roll 3 times, so 3d6, to see what he got. Now, if I get a 1 or a 2, it's pilot. I think that's how that works. Let's take a quick look here. I'll go back and double check. So if you choose to roll, you roll up to 3 times, dividing your rolls between the growth and learning tables as you wish. When you roll in the growth table, some results may say +2 physical, +2 mental, in which case you can add 2 points to strength, dex, or constitution, or 1 point to 2 different stats. Okay, so this is actually how you can bump your stats up. Okay, so we can roll up to 3 times on the pilot tables. So let's go back to pilot. Oh, I see. Okay, so we get a skill for free. So Randy is going to get pilot 0. For free. I see. I was reading them. It's the column is the thing next. Okay. So Randy gets pilot for free. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. Sorry. I guess there was a encoding bug. Yeah. Sorry. Twitch. All right, so pilot at 0. Now, you're going to notice, like, these skills, having a skill at 0 is the base. If you don't have a skill, it's at -1, which is very bad. It means that for this game, 0 is not the base level for a skill. -1 is, and that means you don't know how to do it, and you're probably going to make it worse because you don't know how. 0 is you have the skill, but you're not great at it. So we get Pilot 0 for free, and then we also get to roll 3 times on the growth and learning tables, right? We get 3 rolls total. So let's roll 1 growth and 2 learning. That might be good. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so 1d6 and 2d8. A d6 and 2d8. All right, so we got a 3 and then a 3 and a 4. So we get +2 physical. I'm going to write this down so I don't... Yeah, quicker default so you don't roll on the other table. Exactly. Okay, so +2 physical. And then I also got a 3 and a 4, so we got fix and notice. Okay, cool. Notice, yikes. Yeah, full random. You flip a coin to decide which one to roll on for each one. Yep. Okay, so this means that we get 2 points for physical. Let's bump our dexterity. That's not going to do anything. I mean, none of these are, really. So yeah, let's just put dexterity up, because that's fine. And then we get 2 skills. We get fix and notice. So notice goes up to 0, and fix goes up to 0 as well. Okay, great. So that's how we go. So this is our guy. This is Randy. This is what he can do. So that's good. And then what do we do next for character creation? We go ahead and choose our class. So Randy's going to be an expert. Now, in this one, in this game, you can, if you want to, you can mix and match, right? So the 3 classes, unlike Dungeons & Dragons, there's a whole bunch of them. In this game, you can be a warrior, an expert, or a psychic. Warriors fight, psychics do psychic stuff, experts do basically everything else. Now, if you want to, you can be an adventurer, which lets you be a mix and match. So you can be half warrior, half expert, half psychic, half expert, which I think is super cool. I'm just going to make Randy an expert for simplicity's sake, but this gives the characters a little bit of freedom to be like psychic warriors or whatever. I think it's quite cool. We'll see how it is in play. You get like a lesser version of what you normally get. See, and then if I add another one, I can always do that. So expert, and then I can type in my class ability here. So there you go. And then I'm going to choose my my foci. So this represents side talents or specialization. These are kind of like feats. So in addition to this, a character with the expert class gets 1 level of a non-combat, non-psychic focus for free in addition. So that's part of being an expert. So I'm going to get 2 foci, one of which has to be non-combat, non-psychic. Let's go look at the foci. So these are cool. This is where your character starts to drift a little. Now, as an expert, I get free level and a non-combat focus is what we were talking about. Once per scene, you can reroll a failed skill check, taking the new roll if it's better. One of the house rules that I'm going to use for this game is we're going to do, instead of once per scene for this, and for the warrior, we're going to do once per hour of actual play. We used to do it up by breaks, but I'm going to use like clock hours because we play the same amount of time every time. So they'll get to use this 4 times a session. So you can reroll a failed skill check. And then when you advance a level, you get a bonus skill point. So these guys are just going to get good at skills. So let's pick our focus. I guess we should do hit points and stuff too. So you'll notice in this game, you have to roll hit points, and your hit points are super low. You roll a d6 and you add your con mod. Minimum 1 hit point. That's it. As a warrior, you'll get a little bit more in terms of hit points, but only 2, right? 1d6 plus 2. So a starting character, let's see how many hit points Randy has. D6 plus 1, because he's tough. Oh, for fuck's sake, Randy. God damn it, man. Randy has 2 hit points. Rest in peace, buddy. So Randy has 2 hit points. And that's how it goes. He's just a little squishmo. Good stuff, Randy. All right, let's go look at foci. So when you choose a focus, you're going to pick a focus and it's going to give you some stuff, a knack, a perk, benefits in play, whatever. Yeah, I'm in the way of the rolls, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. But you can also use this. There's a thing called origin foci. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen is everyone's going to make their characters like they're human. And then anybody who wants to be a synthezoid, right? Anybody who wants to be a robot, I'm going to give them an additional foci that makes them an android. We're going to keep that secret. I'm not going to tell you. The only person who's going to know is the player. If multiple players want all to be replicants, they can all be replicants. I don't care. It's possible, however unlikely, it's possible that the entire cast are all going to be robots. And no one will know except me and that robot. It is totally possible for them all to be synthetic humans without knowing. I think that would be hilarious. The whole game would become about that as they slowly like reveal or come to learn who's a robot. But that's what we're going to do. We're going to do Battlestar Galactica style secret replicants. But it's certainly possible everyone could do it. So that'll be a thing that we do. So that's how that works in this game. If you want to be an alien or a robot or whatever, the GM can come up with the focus. There are rules for how to make those based on your campaign. But for us, all I need to worry about is that. So these are the foci. There's like, I don't know, a bunch of them. Not so many. This isn't like, Pathfinder. But as we make our character, we get to pick a focus. So Randy could be alert, not fucking likely. He could be an armsman, an assassin. He could have authority, which means people are more likely to like believe him when he tells them things. Close combat, connected, die hard, which means you never get to wear shoes. You could be a diplomat, a gunslinger, a hacker. There are new rules just for hacking, which I think is super cool. You could be a healer, a henchkeeper. So if you want to have like a bunch of, like privates. If you want to have a bunch of like henchmen, you could do that. Ironhide, which I guess makes you harder to hurt. Your armor class is 15 instead of 10, which is kind of nuts. Psychic training, if you're a psychic, this gives you some additional psychic stuff. Savage fray, shocking assault, sniper. A lot of these are combat ones. Specialist, which just bumps your like skill. So you roll 3d6, basically gives you advantage with a specific skill. Star captain, starfarer, tinker, unarmed combatant, unique gift. So it's like you get a special piece of gear. This is your father's lightsaber or whatever. Wanderer or a wild psychic talent. So this is a talent you could have like one psychic discipline at level 0 forever, and you can't get any better. You just have one little power. So I think I'm going to take specialist because I get 2, right? So I think I'm going to take specialist for Randy here. And we're going to take specialist. I don't know. We're going to make Randy the mecha pilot. So he's going to be specialist Randy. So on the character sheet, we just come down here and we go pilot. Now, do we get another rank as well or just... No, just the 3d6. So now when we roll, instead of the 2d6, we roll like piloting dex. Oh, yeah. So you can see if I move myself here, you can see that I've got 4 plus 3 plus 6, which puts the 4 and the 6 together. So it's quite cool. I like this 2 3d6 4d6 thing. Yeah, I think that's neat. So that makes Randy a great pilot. And then also, yeah, let me see. And you gain that skill as a bonus. So he actually goes up to pilot 1. So that's my first focus. Seems like a good one for an expert, right? Do I have somewhere where I write these down? No, I don't think so. I don't see it anywhere. Weapons, saving throws, skills. Talents for psych. Oh, foci. Here we go. Okay, so this is specialist pilot. rank 1. I guess rank 2 gives me 4d6. Oh, and I can just put level 1. There we go. Okay. And then I can do another one. Yeah, I could take pilot again, but I think I want to give Randy connected. He knows people. So remarkably gifted at making friends and forging ties. Wherever you go, you seem to know somebody useful to your ends. So you gain connect as a bonus skill, and we'll talk about what that means later. So Randy gets connect. And if you've spent at least a week in a not entirely hostile location, you have a web of contacts willing to do favors for you. You can call it one favor per game day. The GM decides how far they'll go for you. Okay, there we go. So that's great. So we'll add that in. Connected. Yeah, he knows the crew of a weird ship. Okay. Yeah, Randy, good at making friends, bad at not getting shot in the face through the back of your head. Okay, great. So gain connect to the bonus skill, and now we can do the thing. So that's cool. That's the focus list. We're done with that. We've picked some foci for Randy. And now we need to pick one non-psychic skill of my choice. Let's make Randy have... Let's give Randy another skill, and let's bump him up for... Oh, God, I was going to give him survive. That's ironic. Let's just give him work. Let's make him a laborer. How does that sound? Yeah, let's just give him work. Work is like a generic skill. We'll talk about the skill list. Actually, I think that's the next thing we can do. Yeah, roll your hit points, choose your psychic powers, note down all the attack bonuses and equipment, miscellaneous stuff that doesn't super matter. Now, I will say what's interesting in this is that there's only 3 saving throws instead of the 4 from the last one. So in this game, there's only 3 saving throws: physical, mental, and evasion. The luck save has been rolled into mental. I actually really like luck saves, so that's going to get used a fair bit, I think. So these are basically just, does the bad thing happen to you? Uh-oh, Randy, you fell off a girder and landed on the concrete. Are you dead? You're dead. Sorry, Randy. So saving throws, those will come up. They rolled the luck save into mental, so that's a thing. Yes, you can also add. I could add to the luck save by like building that in. Yeah, the sheet even has the option, right? I think it's in settings. Yeah, homebrew luck save. So I kind of think, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. We're gonna homebrew it back in. So I'm gonna just make a note to enable that for everybody's character sheet. That's so cool. Thank you, whoever made this Roll20 sheet. Luck add. Because the luck save is just so good. Okay, so luck save is back. That's cool. It's in the game. Done. Cool. All right, so we got our saving throws. Now, the skill list is very different than it used to be. Let's take a look in the book and talk through it, because I think this is interesting, because this is very polarizing for folks. So the new skill list is administer. They're all verbs now. Administer. So manage an organization, handle paperwork, analyze records, keep an institution functioning. Roll to administer, right? Roll to connect. This is just circles. It's a skill now. Like, find people who are helpful to your purposes and get them to cooperate with you. Roll to make useful connections with others. Find people you know where to get illicit goods and services. Done. Isn't that cool? Just connect. Like, you connect. Characters are simpler now. They have less skills, less specific skills, right? A lot of stuff gets rolled in. So that's cool. Connect is a new skill I really like. Exert, running, jumping, lifting, climbing, throwing, etc. This is athletics in D&D. Fix, create and repair devices, depending on your background. This is going to be fictional positioning for me, right? If you're like, I would really like to roll fix to repair this TL6 supercomputer, I'll be like, you are a barbarian. No, you cannot. So this version of the game relies on fictional positioning a lot more than the last one. Does it make sense your character would be able to do this? If so, you get a roll. If not, maybe a luck save, right? Heal. cure diseases, stabilize injured, etc. Know. Now, know is interesting because it takes knowing everything and rolls it into one skill. And now, for me as the GM, I have to apply penalties or bonuses, right? If someone is like, can I roll to know how this works? I can be like, yes, but at a -5, right? Or yes, but at a +2, right? So it's up to you to, as the GM, make those rulings on no, now that it's all rolled in. Fictional positioning. You have to understand the characters and think whether they are able to do these things. Knowing is just about how good your brain is at remembering stuff and putting content together. Lead is the like persuading them to follow you, right? Lead troops in combat is the captain skill. Notice, perception, investigation. Perform, so any kind of performance. Pilot vehicles. So now, if you're good with one vehicle, you're probably good with all vehicles, which is interesting. Nice narrowing down. So you're not like, well, I've got pilot space and pilot land, but we're in a boat, so I have no skill at all. Program, so you can hack it, Piani. Punch, so all unarmed combat is punch now. So it's like punch, kick, bite, headbutt, etc. Shoot, ranged weapons. So those are the 2 combat skills now, punch and shoot, basically. And stab. Punch, shoot, and stab. Armed, unarmed, missile. Sneak. Sneaking is all kinds of stealthy stuff, including defeating security measures. Survive. Makes sense. Survive. Talk. All the charisma skills. Persuade, charm, deceive, whatever. Trade, doing business. And then work. A catch-all skill for professions not represented by others. Working at a particular profession, art, or trade. That's why I gave my character a rank in work. Because I think it's interesting. I think it's important because this is the like, I don't have another skill for this. Let me lift, push, whatever, bend it, bop it, twist it. I agree. I think it's nicely streamlined. I like this a lot better. This is going to be a lot easier to explain. It also frees us up because there's less skills to have discussion where I will say, okay, roll exert with strength. And they might say, you know what? I think this might actually be work. Can I roll work with strength? And I would be like, oh, yeah, no, like this is professional lifting. You're not just exerting yourself. I think that, yeah, sure. So it gives me some freedom to subjectively look at the moment and apply the most fictionally correct thing. Now, psychic powers, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but psychic powers allow you to do unusual things if you're a psychic or partial psychic. And as one of those things, you get, these are skills: biopsionics, metapsionics, precognition, telekinesis, telepathy, and teleportation. They're more like skills now instead of like a very different subsystem. So all in all, I am really interested in seeing the streamlined version of this. I'm pro streamline. I like it a lot. I think it's good. We'll see how I feel about it in play, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be better based on what I can see. So those are the skills, right? We get background, skills. Main characters in this is actually really quick. And you know, see, I like stab and punch. I think they're fine. Why? Like, what do you want to call them? Like, that's the verb, to stab, to punch. I mean, you call it slash, right? Hack, whatever. But it's not like that's the thing. Putting it all verb together. And yeah, I think all the combat skills should be one skill. I think it's fine. There's no need to have that granularity because all it means is you get a higher bonus or a lower bonus. Like, yeah, it narrows it down. It abstracts it a little bit. Shank, perforate, etc. Okay, let's talk about what the next section is. So we can pick an equipment package. So in this case, like, we could take the civilian package. Lots of money, not much else. We could take the scout or the soldier or whatever. Or you can just buy what you want. There's a quick character creation section, and then we get right into psionics. So in this, psionics are divided into disciplines. Those were the things that I described to you before. Those like 6 things. it's not psionic power points anymore. It's effort. It's called effort now. And when you gain a discipline, you get its core technique. So physical translocation with teleportation or tissue repair with biopsionics, etc. The strength of that ability varies by your skill level. So a level 0 biopsionicist is not going to be as good as a level 3 one or whatever, and you'll get, they go broader and taller. You gain effort equal to, I believe, your wisdom bonus or constitution bonus +1. Yeah, here we go. Maximum effort total. Plus your highest psychic skill. So that's cool. So you'll get like 1 to 5, maybe, depending on how good you are. You can commit effort, which is like concentration in 5th edition D&D. And you can spend the points. Now, if you run out, you can torch. Torching is an action that provides a free point of effort, but then you can lose your score permanently. So pretty hardcore, right? You roll a d6. On a 6, nothing happens. 1 to 5, you burn off points from your stats. Which is like actually pretty cool because you can go all the way down to 8 without really fucking your stats up too bad. So that's cool. Torching is pretty cool. And then system strain works the same way. It's just how much psychic and cybernetic messing up your system can take. So biopsionics, pretty much the same stuff. You can heal. It's like a cure wounds spell. Automatic stabilization at level 0, and then actual hit points at levels 1 to 4. You can also gain some specific healing and body mod powers as you gain levels. So it gets powers and a core technique. Meta psionics is like messing with your own and other people's psionics. We saw that a little bit in the other game. Precog, this is the piano stuff. You get oracular power that sees further into the future the higher you go. Yeah, Torch's Spellburn from DCC. Exactly. So I really liked Precog, but I'm gonna ask, if someone plays a psychic, I'm gonna ask them to consider something that isn't precognition, just because we've seen it already. If they really want to, I'm not gonna say no, but I'm gonna say like, hey, we've kind of seen, we had a precog character, maybe we could do something else. But it's a new edition, maybe they want to. Telekinesis, right? This is the moving shit around, throwing things, finger guns situation. So same jam. Telepathy. I would love to see a telepath in this system. I think that would be super cool. No, synths can't be psychics. No. Telepathy I think would be super fun. I'd love to see. I would like to encourage someone to take telepathy. Yeah, because I think that's pretty cool. And then teleportation. You can move around. The maximum range starts at 10 meters, but goes up to anywhere on a planet at the higher level, which is cool. Yeah, teleportation is much better now than it used to be. And then you can also do some other stuff. Additional powers for teleportation. And that's it. So like that's the character creation stuff. It's a little more complicated if you're playing a psionicist, but that's pretty much the jam for charge in. The basic systems in the game come down to skill checks, saving throws, and combat stuff, extra combat shit. So I want to touch on that. The core skill check in the game is still the same. It's 2d6 or 3 or 4, depending on if you have the talents, discarding some of the other rules. You're going to roll, you're going to add your modifiers, which are going to be a stat, the skill, and then some bonus shit from elsewhere, right? So that might come in. The game wants us to jockey for advantage or disadvantage, right? So I'm going to encourage my players to say, hey, can I get a +1 for this thing? Or like, the last time we saw this guy, I beat the living shit out of him, and now I'm trying to intimidate him. Can I get a bonus to intimidate him? So yes, that's a thing. Difficulties range from 6 to 14. The game explicitly says if you think it'd be lower than 6, just say yes. No problem. That's how it goes. And I will say to the players, like, make a difficulty 10 stab check or whatever. So kind of floating bonuses between, it explicitly says between a certain range, right? So I'm not going to be like, add 5, and they're going to be like, well, -6 or whatever. You know, like we're not going to go back and forth. You can get +1 help from a PC, and then you can also do like opposed skill checks, which is whoever gets the highest one wins. Pretty simple stuff. You'll notice no combination of modifiers should add more than 2 or -2. So in the absolute worst circumstance, but with the absolute most bonus, you're going to end up at 0 anyway. So it'll never be worse than -2 from situational stuff, from fictional position, right? So yeah, that'll be the thing. In combat, it's fairly straightforward. Old school combat, you roll a d8, you add your dexterity modifier. That's your initiative for the rest of the fight, unless it changes for some reason. That's it. You get a main action, a move action, and then you can take on turn and instant actions. So just like D&D, right? Main action is like shoot a gun, stow an item, apply first aid, like actually do something. Move actions, you run up to 10 meters. You can do 2. There's disengaging from combat. You can do like a fighting withdrawal if you don't want to get gooned on by someone who melee attacks you. And then there's a bunch of other stuff. Like on-turn actions are dropping a weapon or activating a simple device you already have in hand, falling prone, talking. Instant actions are some other things that you can do. And there's some cool timing stuff that I'm really excited about. They've also changed the attack rolls and stuff in this game. So when you attack, you roll a d20, you add your attack bonus, you add miscellaneous stuff like laser accuracy, that kind of thing, your skill level with the weapon, and you roll it against your enemy's armor class. It's not against 20 anymore. It's just like D&D. You just make the attack, and if you get their armor class or higher, you hit them. There's no crits as far as I can see in the game. There's no fumbles. You just do it. You just fucking do it. So that's how that works. What I really like is that some melee weapons have shock. I fucking love this. This is my favorite new combat thing. So if you have an armor class less than the shock value AC, anyone who attacks you with that weapon will automatically deal the shock damage whether they hit or miss. It's so good. It's so fucking lethal. Like, if I come at Randy with a knife and Randy's not wearing armor, all I have to do is make 2 attacks and motherfucker's on the ground. Shock damage is so cool. Because fighting someone when you're unarmored who has a knife, there's not a lot of like ting, ting, ting sword fight dueling. You're just getting your fucking arms chopped up, right? It's so good. I love it. It's very cool. Getting hit with things hurts. Shock damage. It's a thing. You can avoid it, but you have to take an action to do so. So some cool stuff about combat in this one. Obviously, melee attack, ranged attack, those are normal. You can't make a ranged attack with a rifle if someone is standing next to you and trying to hurt you. Like they're pulling on your gun, they're shoving the gun out of the way. So you can't just be like, I ignore him and I shoot at this guy. If you have a single-handed weapon, you can do it, but you're at -4 to hit if there's someone near you. So that's a cool thing. You have to have a weapon readied to shoot it. Now, if you have a readied weapon, snap attacks are a thing. Snap attacks are very cool. So a snap attack is, I rolled on my initiative, I got a 2, I have a gun in my hand, someone is running towards me with a spear, I don't want to wait till my turn, they're going to get to go before me, blam, I shoot them. I just pull the gun and I fire. I'm shooting at a -4, but if I hit, I might kill them before they get to me. Desperate, undisciplined, or the elite, right? The GM rarely has NPCs employ them because it's just like, oh, shit, I fucking shoot him before he gets to me. You're not as good, but it's very cool because you got a fucking gun in your hand. Why would you wait until someone runs up to you, pokes you, and you're like, ow, okay, blam. So you get a chance to like fire as an interrupt if you haven't used your action already. So that's fucking awesome. That's so good. I really like it. And then if you do that, you lose your main action on your turn. You can go total defense, which is like curling up in a ball. It makes you immune to shock damage, and you get a +2 bonus to your AC. So that's nice. It gives you rules for clubbing up on a weapon. So if somebody says, I hit him with my rifle, I hit him with the butt of my rifle. Yep, that's a thing. There are attacks of opportunity, right? If you're in melee with someone and you don't do a fighting withdrawal, they just get an attack to hit you, right? So in this case, you can fighting withdrawal to disengage and then run. Makes sense. Readying or stowing an item is a main action, right? Put the gun in the holster, take the gun out of the holster. That's 2 turns. Reloading the gun, that's a turn. But dropping the gun is instant. Anytime, not even on your turn, you can just be like, I drop my gun, and then on my turn, ready my sword. Next turn, I can attack, right? Move actions can only really move. You just run. Picking up an item is a move action. So if you drop the gun on the floor as a free action, fight with your sword, you get disarmed. On your turn, if you don't go anywhere, you can pick up the gun as a move action and then fire it, right? Scoop an object off the floor. Then it's readied. Standing up is a move action. So unlike D&D, if you get knocked prone, you have to use your whole action to stand. You go prone for free if you want to, which makes you harder to hit, but easier to melee. And then you can hold your action. So again, not like D&D, you can say, I'm going to wait. I'm delaying my turn. And then at any point in the round, you can say, oop, I'm going to use my main action. My turn, I'm interrupting. I've been waiting. So that's a thing. Combat can be quite lethal. Yes, totally. Combat will be something to avoid. I will tell my players, if you get in a fight, you have already made a horrible mistake. Shit is fucked. Like, as soon as I ask you to roll initiative, you should not be getting excited. You should not be like, yay, a fight. You should be like, oh shit, someone's gonna die. Death and murder and all that stuff is very important and significant. And that's why we have rules for it. Because we want to make sure we get it right. So that's the thing. There's some details around forcing enemy movement, right? If you need to grab someone and shove them and push them around, if you want to disarm them. I really like execution attacks as a thing. I want to talk about them because I think they're fucking awesome. So you take 60 seconds. You take 1 minute to set up your killing blow. Get out your weapon, put your sniper rifle on the banister. Take a second to aim. Take 59 more seconds to aim, right? Get ready. Skulk after someone with a knife or a garrote, right? Sneaking up on them. Once your preparation is complete, you make an attack against an adjacent target. Now, it's a skill check, not an attack roll. Their armor does not matter, assuming your weapon can hurt them. So you throw the garrote around their neck. You take the shot. Hitting with a sniper shot is dex shoot. That's 6, 8, or 10 difficulty, depending on the range, right? Melee always hits, but you have to be adjacent. If the attack hits, maximum damage, immediate physical save, or die, right? Or begin dying. Mortal wound. So if you're fighting if you're like, we get in a fight and I gotta fight somebody, you can be like, no, fuck it. I follow them through the crowd for a minute. I draw my vibro knife. Ha! They fail a physical save. I've killed them. They're lying on the ground bleeding. I run off. Or I stab them a few more times, right? Like, if it hits, it immediately makes a physical save or die, deals full damage, so they might already die, right? Like, because of that, there's 2 ways they can die. And then attacking someone who is helpless does not require a hit roll and leaves them mortally wounded no matter what. You just do that. Player characters are as vulnerable to these rules as NPCs are and may be sniped or stabbed if they behave in sufficiently incautious fashion. I promise you, right now, at some point in this campaign, I am going to try to blow somebody's head off with a sniper rifle. I promise. I'm going to do it. What else? Yeah, the sniper rifle in the original had those. Yeah. It had this rule. Absolutely. Yeah. So, two weapon fighting, you just have to have level 1 in shoot or stab. You get a -1 penalty to a hit roll, but a +2 bonus to damage. And you use 1 ammo for each thing. You don't get 2 separate attacks. It's just 1 weapon to attack. Doesn't add to your shock. Injury, death, and healing. Let's talk about this. So, if you're brought to 0 hit points, you actually have quite a long time to bleed out, right? A mortally wounded creature bleeds out in no more than 6 rounds. Unconscious, screaming for their mother, trying to press their organs back into place, whatever, but they can't do anything. If you're dropped by a heavy weapon, explosives, you have a drug factory fall on you, I might just be like, I'm sorry, you're dead. Like, you are fucked. I am allowed as the GM to bypass the bleeding to death rules. Chances are pretty good I won't do that to PCs because I feel like it would have to be real significant. A PC who wants to help someone, you can make an int heal or dex heal skill check, which whatever modifier. If you don't have any tools, the difficulty is 10. If you have tools, it'll lower the difficulty. The difficulty goes up every turn. You can keep trying, but it gets harder to stabilize someone every time a round passes, right? It's 10 plus the number of rounds that have passed. So this is the, like, I'm covered in blood. I've been trying to save you for the last 20 seconds. Live, damn you, live. And I'm rolling at a 16 difficulty. So you have a long time to bleed to death, but that's how it works. You will slowly bleed out and then you'll die. So yeah, that's combat. I know that there are rules for hacking, which I will learn and read about when someone decides to be a hacker. Leveling up is dependent on experience points, which is based on goals. So characters will have, kind of like in, honestly, kind of like just in the first game, you'll have goals. We do experience in much lower numbers now, you'll notice. So like to get to level 2, you'll get 3 experience. Basically the assumption is that after a successful like mission or session or whatever, you should like get your first level up. The game assumes about 3 XP. I think I'll probably figure like goals will be that level. I gotta read more deeply into that and think about it, but basically goals give you XP and XP gives you levels. You level at 3, 6, 12, 18, 27, etc. When you level up, you get more hit points, right? So you roll a number of 6-sided dice equal to your new level, like in the last one. So let's imagine that, like, let's do some leveling up for Randy. So Randy's got 2 hit points. Randy just gained a level, right? Randy is level 2 now. And level 2 Randy gets to roll 2d6 plus 2. So how does Randy do? Randy's new hit points go from 2. Oh, fuck, Randy. Randy, now you're fucking 5. Okay. All right, Randy. Randy somehow manages to survive to level 3. All right, Randy, can you do any better on level 3? Let's see. Let's see some 6s here, Randy. 3d6 plus 3, because he's such a stout fellow. Here we go. All right, that's a big jump. We go from 5 to 14 in this level. Now, you'll never go below that total, but you'll go in these jumps. I think it's a really interesting way because you get to re-roll every time, right? So that's pretty good. A level can still be disappointing, right? But you'll never go down. But there are also chances for you just to get a +1. You may only get a +1 bonus on your level. So yeah, I really like this method of hit point gain. So you can see it becomes less and less lethal. Let's look at how much damage weapons do. Should we do that? So your average person with no armor or anything has 10 armor class, right? Armor class is 10. Your dexterity modifier, if you're a dodger, you add your dexterity modifier to your armor class, which is great. And then you add on armor on top of that. So this base armor class I figure people are going to mostly be wearing combat armor in combat situations and then nothing outside of it, right? If they're going into a combat situation, they're going to put on their security armor, get their guns, and go into it. But if they're not in a combat situation, they will not be, their uniform is not armor. I might do like secure clothing as part of the uniform, but that's it, right? Yeah, war paint in this describes bizarre combat fashion and scrap-built street harnesses of gangers, cult enforcers, street toughs, and marginal sorts with little money but much need for protection. So you can see like armor classes vary really wildly, right? Like CFUs are 16, security armor is 14, an unarmored person is 10, but even putting on like a thick leather jacket can bring you up to 13. Full plate. I hope they fight someone in full plate. War paint is like war paint. It's not literally like only painted. So you have your armor, and then let's look at weapons. So a thunder gun in this deals 2d10. Pretty swingy. Spike thrower, 3d8. Distortion cannon, 2d12. But your average gun, your pistol, right? Your laser pistol, your fully semi-automatic pistol, 1d6 plus 1 damage. So let's say Randy is getting shot by a pistol, and let's see how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Randy pop. 1, 2, 3. Oh, you're still going, Randy. You got 4 hit points left, buddy. Oh, fucked. Dead. There you go. So Randy survived 4 shots at level 3. Now, back in level 1 town, Randy cannot get shot and live. It is impossible. Right? Okay, Randy, you get shot at by somebody. You're not wearing your armor, you dumbass. You get shot at by somebody with like a normal shot. Let's say they're like, I got a +4 to hit you. 10 or better. Uh-oh, Randy. Uh-oh. Motherfucker, you are double dead. Turns out getting shot sucks. Do not let it happen. If Randy is not wearing his armor, a single melee attack will kill him. That's why we wear armor, everybody, and why we have medics nearby. So, and we're friends with warriors and we'll let them do the fucking fighting for us. So that's that. So there's the weapons. We got a range in meters here. Some of the weapons can fire in burst mode, which gives the +2 bonus to hit and damage, but fires more ammo, right? So 3 rounds of ammo for that. So I'm gonna make sure everybody tracks their armor or their ammo as they fire it. Let's see if the sheet has. Yeah, here we go. It's an ammo counter. Perfect. So we could put in like shoot, dex. Got our little pew pew gun. Does 1d6 plus 1. Let's check the macro. 1d6 plus 1. No shock damage. Range. What's the range on a fully semi-automatic pistol? 30, 100. And what's in a clip? 12 shots. Okay. Wow. Yeah, pew pew. 13 for 5 damage. Got it. Okay, cool. All right, so Randy, don't get in a fight without that. Yeah, combat is going to be lethal. Wear the damn armor when you think you're going to get shot at. Don't get into fights. Find another way. If you're a warrior, protect your friends. Fight smart. Fight from cover. Be fucking careful. Yeah, Claire, the ticking the ammo down automatically would be an API call in the game. Like rolls. This is, okay, whatever. Roll20 nerd stuff. Rolls that affect a character sheet directly require the API, which this sheet does not have. Yeah, no API settings for this sheet. That is cool. They have an NPC version of the sheet, though. That's nice. This is better than the first edition sheet, for sure. You can do it with the API. D&D can do it, and some other stuff. Shock damage is only applied if you... It's like a base default. Like, you have to deal that much damage, even if you miss. That's all that means. Cool. So that's that. As far as layering armor goes, I don't think you can. There's like encumbrance, which is cool, but I think you just wear, you get whatever the best armor is. So putting on something underneath your storm armor, like, it doesn't, I didn't see anywhere that says that you need to like, you get a bonus for layering. I think it's just the best thing. Yeah, and then the players will get to buy all kinds of cool shit that they want, as long as it's TL4 or lower. Power cells, ammo, whatever. All that crap. And I'll let them do their shopping. We'll hang out with them. I would like to point out, grav tanks are a thing, and you will never see them in this game. No one will ever get one. I'm just kidding. It's possible. It's totally possible. Yeah, you can't layer armor. Just get whatever's the highest. That's what I thought. Okay, so some special stuff in this game that they've added. There are drones. So drones now. So if you want to go full Shadowrun to be a drone pilot, you can do that. That's very cool. I like drones. That's going to be in the game for sure. Cyberware also definitely going to be allowed in the game if you can afford it. Artifacts may come up, but I don't know if we're going to use those. We'll see. You can now mod your equipment. So this is cool. You can adjust your equipment. You can have a custom gun with a bunch of stuff built onto it. You can have custom armor. You can make things easier to repair. This is very cool. I'm super into this. These are sample mods, but if a player was like, yo, I want to make my pistol, I want to make my semi-automatic pistol a fully automatic sniper pistol, how do I do that? I would be like, all right, let's make some fix rolls. Let's spend some money. Let's do the thing. And you can triple the range, and you can make it shoot on full auto. That's great. Fine. So that's a thing that you can do in the game. Let's talk about spaceships. Do you like spaceships, chat? This boy likes spaceships. I fucking love spaceships. I did not love spaceship combat in Stars Without Number before. I did not like it. This looks like it's going to be much better. So, this game, I anticipate, much like Swan Song, will be based around and possibly named after a spaceship. This spaceship is going to be much bigger. This spaceship is not going to be a free merchant, right? This spaceship is going to be a Corvette. So we're upgrading. We're upgrading from an unimpressive combat utility cargo ship to a combat frigate with thicker armor and bigger guns. So the reason I chose the Corvette is because our boy the Corvette has a crew of minimum 10, maximum 40. And that's pretty much exactly the size that I want. Because what I'd like to do is, if people can't play a session or you want to do another arc, people can play other members of the crew, right? So this way, if I can't tell you the names of the people that are in the show yet. That's a big surprise. We actually haven't finished casting yet. But if the cast can't make it, like in Court of Swords, I could be like, all right, so we're going to do a 5-episode Science Division arc. Who wants to play Science Division, right? So the ship becomes a community. It's a little flying village of 40 people, right? And I'm really excited about that. I think that's a perfect amount of people. Minimum 10, which means 4 players and 6 NPCs, but up to, there will be 40 people. It'll be a full complement on this Corvette. So there's going to be NPCs. It's going to be like a flying town. So they're going to have relationships. I'm going to have a relationship map, and everybody can be friends with and fall in love, and we can have ship drama. because it's not so lonely out in space when you got 40 other people. We can have all kinds of fun storytelling in that space. And it's Corvette, so it's going to be a big one with guns and hard points and fun shit. So I'm really excited. Yeah, a little more Star Trek in that way. And yeah, totally, you can collect NPCs for the flying circus. You can recruit into the ship. And I think that the ship is going to serve one of the houses major, which I'm going to spoil a little when we get to the faction section. So starships, similar stuff to before. I'm not going to go through every single page of this stuff, but you buy them, you upgrade them. Spike drives work the same way. You drop into spike space, you travel a certain number of hexes, you pop back out, etc., etc. Let's talk about combat, though. Combat is very different. So in combat, you spend much longer turns generating combat points, command points for the fight. So let's talk about how this works. So the combat round, you roll initiative. The pilot rolls initiative. It's a D8 plus your dex or your int. Okay, so you roll that. You take turns in order. Once every ship has had a turn, you start again, just like combat. A combat round of ship combat is 15 minutes. Experts and warriors get to use their special abilities the same amount, once per engagement. On the turn, the ship's captain decides in which order, this is the shit that I love. So they decide in which order the various departments act. These are the departments: bridge, gunnery, engineering, comms, and captain. Okay, bridge, gunnery, engineering, comms, captain. Each department chooses actions, either from their own list or a general list. The department head, which is the person making the roll, chooses actions from one category. It gets complex when you have multiple departments. Like if you're flying a fighter, you are all the departments. Some of the actions generate command points, which allows other departments to spend them, right? Once all the departments have acted, the next ship in the initiative goes. If the ship is an NPC ship, they basically have like a fixed amount of command points. You spend those and then that's your turn. So that is the plan. So the ship's departments, bridge pilots the ship, right? Bridge pilots the ship. Gunnery, yeah, you move the mouse there. Gunnery fires the weapons. Engineering keeps the ship flying, right? That's the Scotty, right? Comms handles sensors. And the captain tells everybody what to do. I think the NPC of the ship, or the captain of the ship, is going to be an NPC. I think we're going to have, unless somebody is really like, I super want to be the captain of this ship, I think everybody else is going to be like a step or two down from the captain. So the actions you can take, let me go to the thing. Either cost or generate points. So general actions, you can see this is the ship combat actions. General actions are above and beyond. So you pick an attribute, you make the test against difficulty 9, you generate your skill level plus command points. On a failure, you take -1, right? So this is just like, cool, I don't have anything I need to do. I will push myself to help out. You describe your action and you make that roll. You can deal with a crisis. We'll talk about crises in a second. They're bad. This is the like, oh God, I put out the fire on the deck or whatever. Or you can just do your duty. The ship gets 1 command point. Low risk. That's it. So each division, each group head can do their own thing. So the bridge can escape combat, right? You can try to just be like, fuck this, I'm out. Punch it, and you try to get out. So this is the escape, costs 4 command points. Evasive maneuvers to boost the AC of the ship, or you can chase someone, right? If they're trying to escape, you chase them. The captain can accept a crew lost crisis and gain the lead plus in command points. So you trigger a crisis in exchange for a bunch of points. Obviously, the captain has to have a high lead skill. You can keep it together, which means you nullify a hit and get a crisis instead. You can support a department to reduce what it costs for them. So when the captain gets to decide, the captain can be like, all right, everybody, I want you to do these things. I am going to support gunnery this turn. Gunnery, go. Right? And then gunnery gets to choose their action. So you can hack an enemy ship, you can defeat ECM, you can sensor ghost. Basically, the idea here, without going through each and every one in detail, everybody gets their own shit to do. The game explicitly says if you are playing a character who has no ship combat skill, your job is to play the NPC that would normally be in charge, which I think is so cool. So in this way, nobody is allowed to just sit around doing nothing during ship combat. They all get to play. I'm going to encourage people to think about which division they belong to and to separate. So hopefully someone plays like a comms officer, someone is a pilot, someone is an engineer, and someone's a gunner, right? But they don't have to, because they'll just play an NPC. I'll be like, all right, for the course of this battle, you are in control of First Officer Thrungot, and his job is to fire the guns. So now you're doing that. So when you take hits, you can once per round, and one more time if the captain voluntarily accepts a crisis, you can, instead of taking a hit, you can do a crisis. And this happens after damage happens. So if I roll and I'm like, I deal you 20 damage, and you're like, oh shit, no, we're going to take a crisis. You roll randomly, and instead I can be like, all right, the missile strikes the side of the ship, and there's a hull breach, which means if you don't resolve it by the end of the round, you're going to bleed out. Frigates take 2d10 damage every turn, right? So these are really cool in that it extends combat, but also gives you fun shit to do instead of just, I shoot you with my cannon, I shoot you with my missile, I shoot you with my cannon, I shoot you with my missile, back and forth until someone blows up. And that's it. You can do up to 2 crises a turn. The crises give you things to do, and then you have to deal with them. Someone has to deal with them or they get worse. I am really excited about what ship combat is going to be like. I cannot wait. I'm very tempted to just begin the game with space combat. I think I might. We'll see. We'll see about how the players get aligned, but I think it might be fun. The things that I like about command points is that someone can spend them without telling anyone else. So you can be like, shit, I really need to fire it. I'm going to use all our command points to fire 3 times. And everyone else can be like, what? No, don't do that. But they can't stop you, right? So yeah, that should be fun. Positioning of ships is just based on range, like how far you are from each other. We don't do 3-dimensional positioning because it's boring and more complicated than this game cares about. So you will do sensors and detection, pursuit, and escape, but that should be about it. Travel seems pretty much the same. If you fuck up a navigation roll, you could potentially show up with all your systems destroyed on a 3. You may also drill in successfully and on time by blind luck. This will still be a thing. Hopefully someone will have navigation. Otherwise an NPC will handle it. And that's how it goes. So yeah, I'm really excited to see, and this is part of why I'm making it a bigger ship, because I want that ship community. I want Starship combat to feel fun. I want to explore this thing and some of the new stuff the game is doing. I'm taking advantage of the rules the game is giving me, and that is my plan. I'm really excited to see the ship in combat. I think it's going to be super cool. So the rest of the game is mostly GM stuff. We'll obviously talk more about sector creation when I get around to that, when it's time to do that. We're going to create a sector. I'm thinking I'm probably going to use Sectors Without Number. This is Sectors Without Number. It's a new tool for generating new sectors. I'll do a whole stream just about generating and adjusting and modifying the sectors. There's some new cool stuff we can do. Like visit the planet Zubibin in the Groa system, which has a hive mind of immortals. Let's stay away from there. So yeah, we'll do a whole thing for this when we get around to that time. The game is giving me all kinds of exciting tags. There's some new tags for generating the sector. You're going to see some new cool stuff. It's going to be a brand new universe. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll definitely do that as another stream before we go into the live game. And then also, let me scroll through all this stuff because this is all adventure and people creation. One of the things I love about this game is that it gives you all these tools for randomly generating stuff if you can't think of it. When I do the GM prep, when we do those faction turns, we'll talk about those things. Let's talk about factions. So if you didn't watch the original Swan Song, you didn't get to watch all of the cool faction shit. Basically, it is a one-player game where I move factions around the universe doing battle with each other. You, if you are a member of the Roleplay Patreon, will get to participate in the faction turn. Now, you'll elect or create or whatever. You'll have a ruling council of your faction that I will let you all figure out. I don't want to take any hand in any of that shit. But every month, I will get orders from you or your honorable representative. You will tell me, and I will carry them out live. We will watch them happen. I am super excited to see how this goes. And if the faction people cannot agree on what happens, you just don't act. You don't get a turn if I don't get an order. We'll do these live, publicly, just like this stream. So even if you're not a patron of the Roleplay Patreon, you can still tune in and watch and hang out. I don't want to like cut off people from watching. It's just being a part of the special faction turn Discord, participating in the Galactic UN or whatever, doing the little like freeform text-based RP you decide to do. That's a thing you can all get in on, but I will be running the faction turn and taking your orders. So we'll all tune in and we'll do that. So we'll talk in more detail. I will train you on how to do that. We'll talk about what you can do, and then we will run the faction turn. It's going to be a little bumpy early on, I promise, but we'll do it. We'll get through it. It'll be fun. I think I'm really excited to see it happen. Do you want to talk about what the factions I'm thinking are going to be? Should we talk a little bit about that? Okay, so my plan right now is to create a set of 12 factions. I want to create 12 factions. 3 of those factions will be the houses major. So right now the houses major, I'm thinking are going to be House Crux, House Fornax, and House Vela. So I think those are the 3 main houses. These are ancient and noble houses that came from old Earth. They are nobility. They are the leaders of the free universe. They're the greatest houses, and from their ranks, the emperor or like high lord of space is chosen, right? So House Crux. House Fornax, and House Vela. Those are going to be the three starting houses. The rest of the houses, which so far I think, I'm going to read them. There's lots. There's 9. The remaining houses, these are the houses minor. They are too small to be their own faction, so they form up as a group of minor houses. So the houses minor are House Aquila, House Eridanus, House Lyra, House Pixis, House Reticulum, House Serpens, and House Triangulum. There was an additional house, but House Crux killed them. They were wiped out. One of these minor houses was destroyed. Now, in play, if you want to, houses minor, if people RP getting together and are like, you know what? House Eridanus and House Pixis have decided that we're going to marry our heirs together and we're going to form a new house. We would like to be our own faction. I will take that into account. Yeah. So, House Crux is the House of the Cross. House Fornax is the House of the Furnace. And House Vela is House of the Sails. And they will all have their own like specialties and their own stuff that they're doing. So in addition to the houses major and the houses minor, I'm going to have a non-faction like turn, one that I control that you can't control, because this is going to be the transhuman faction. They are they're going to be like a guild of like transhuman like post-humans basically. So that's going to be a thing. I'll control them. They're going to be a bunch of weird game obsessives that like live in a Dyson sphere. So that'll be one that I control, because they're going to be kind of strange and not nearly like as intimately connected to the factions. There's going to be a non-noble corporation. So if you want to be like a corporate overlord, if you want to be the Chom Corporation, that will be one. So we'll have them. There's going to be 2 religions. There's going to be a main ancient earth-based religion, and then a splinter like weird religion. So if you want to be like the weird new religion or the old religion, those will both be available to you. There's going to be at least one, but probably more than one criminal organization. So if you want to be drug pushers, killers for hire, scum and villains, then that'll be an option available to you. And then there'll be a media conglomerate, some kind of like music, movies, live game streams, like organization like that. And so that'll be in the game too. So you can join. Basically, my plan is once a month, we will take the turn. Once a month, we'll take the GM turn. And if you decide you want to leave your faction, you can. I think we'll do that once per month. You'll be allowed to shift or change factions. I'll penalize factions that shrink. If your faction is destroyed, everybody else gets to leave and join another one, because your faction blew up. So too bad, and you want to keep playing. So when we initially create the power for the factions, I have some baseline stuff, but if a lot of people choose a particular faction, I'll make them more powerful in game to start them off. And that's sort of the plan for the factions. I'm really excited to see what you come up with. I will be paying very close attention to each faction will get its own channel in a Discord. So they'll be like House Crux and their own personal channel, and House Vela and their own personal channel. The Houses Minor. There'll be another channel that you can join only if you're a noble, right? There'll be the channel for all the nobility. The corporation will have their own channel. There will be a channel for everyone. There'll be an out-of-character and an in-character channel. So the in-character channel will be like the Galactic Senate, basically, where you all go to meet and talk. There'll be a criminal channel, and we'll do all that stuff. And all of that will be built up in a brand new Discord server for the show, which I will make sure everybody gets into. Basically, there'll be a form you can fill out. You'll give me some information. We'll put you into the Discord, and then it's up to you to like figure your shit out. I think my plan, what I'd really like, is that all of you just get to participate. Like if you are a backer at any level, you get to be in the faction turn. Now, y'all are gonna have to figure out who decides. Maybe you do. Maybe you do like a survey. Maybe you're a Democratic faction. Maybe you elect someone. Maybe you all decide that every month someone new is in charge of the faction. You get to decide. I do not care how you do this. All that matters to me is that the leaders of every faction give me an order by a certain date. Other than that, I don't care. That's how it goes. You manage yourselves. And I'm super excited because the way that you role play those factions, the way you act in the Discord, I am going to put in the game. So like if I see members of the Houses Minor getting in debates about galactic policy with the members of the Houses Major, I will reflect that in the game. I'll be like, yo, it looks like the Houses Minor are starting to ferment. Now, remember, the PCs are going to be in a ship that belongs to one of the great houses, right? And I will decide that after everybody joins the factions. After we do the faction turn, then I'll decide which of the houses, major or minor, they belong to. So we'll see if a bunch of people shift to the house, like the house that the PCs are in, but it doesn't mean you're going to get to control them. You'll just get to control everything else that's a part of the faction that they are a part of. I'm really excited. I think this is a super weird experiment, and I cannot wait to get it off the ground, so to speak. This is probably the thing that, as a GM, I'm the most excited about. I think it's going to be very cool, and I'm really looking forward to playing with you, with the audience. Yeah, House Reticulum, House Triangulus. It's going to be sweet. Cool. So a few other like little minor things that I want to take a look at. The way robotic PCs are going to work in the game. They're going to be basically VI PCs. We're not using any of the true AI stuff. So the only difference mechanically between a person and a VI in the game is that VI are illegal. They're illegal people. And they don't eat or drink. They're not wounded by vacuum. They need battery power. They need to have battery cells or have like a cradle to power up in. And they're secret. They are secret. They have to keep themselves on the DL. And I don't know, maybe one of the houses minor or something will be like a pro synth faction. Maybe one of the religions will. Maybe one of the religions will hate the synths. Like I don't care. I'm going to let you decide that. And so as the news comes out in the game and as things change, you can RP the factions and decide, like, what do we think? So mechs in this game, we're going to be using giant robots. Giant robots basically work like vehicles in the game. They have a speed rating. They have guns built in. We'll see how much I need this. Basically, it'll be background stuff unless a PC wants to be a mech focused player. So that'll be a thing. They'll be able to buy up vehicle. They'll have a mech assigned to them. The mechs are going to be size-wise between like Space Marines and like maybe like the big end of BattleTech. Not that big, not like Pacific Rim size, much smaller. And that'll be a thing. We'll use some of the mech stuff from the game. So that's my plan. That's the sort of overview of Stars Without Number Revised Edition. Obviously, there's more rules to learn, more to dig into, obviously more work to be done in preparing the campaign. But as it stands right now, I need players. I need my players to be ready. Once my players are ready, I can ask them all the questions that I need to know to help tone and theme the game for them. So I hope that this has got you at least a little fired up, if you weren't before, about the new Stars Without Number campaign. Right now, we have 3 of the 4 players that we need confirmed. We have 1 player we're waiting on. We had 4. Someone had to back out. We're looking for 1 more person. And once we have those 4, everything is going to just like start happening. We're just going to be banging out those goals. It's going to be awesome. I'm super excited. If you're looking for that content, it's going to take place in a couple of different places. So the main show will be weekly, twitch.tv/itmejp. We don't have a time slot for it yet. It'll be weekly live on JP's channel. You'll also be able to watch it on YouTube, right? It'll come out probably in 2-hour VODs on YouTube. If you're in a weird time zone compared to us, your time zone is fine. Maybe ours is weird. So if you're in another time zone, you can't watch live, it'll be available on YouTube, of course. That'll be the main show, twitch.tv/itmejp. Character creation, post shows, discussion content, all of that extra stuff will be on Patreon. Those will be Patreon videos. So you'll see that there. All the GM content, right? Faction turns, game prep, mission prep, analysis of behavior in the Discord, right? Whatever cool shit that I come up with as a game master for myself, that'll take place right here, twitch.tv/Adam Coble, or on my YouTube channel if you missed the live stuff. And yeah, I think that'll be the main jam. I'm really excited. This is probably the most ambitious project that we've had for roleplay so far, aside from maybe like Balance of Power. I'm looking very, very much forward to going through this experiment with y'all. I'm really excited to see what you come up with the framework of the world that we're gonna build together. So hopefully that's something that you're looking forward to as well. Yeah, so that's it for now. Keep an eye on my Twitter. Keep an eye on the Roleplay Twitter. We'll keep announcing stuff. Literally, as soon as I can tell you who's in the show, I will. Feel free, if you're looking for other content to get all excited about, if you want to like see what's inspiring me, I would suggest that you read right now. Go out of your way if you haven't already. Get yourself a paperback. Get yourself a hardcover. Download an EPUB. I don't give a fuck how you do it. Read the book Collapsing Empire. Collapsing Empire by John Scalzi. It's probably the main inspiration for my campaign right now. If you've already read it, read The Quantum Thief, read Dune, read Ancillary Justice, read Nine Fox Gambit. All of those are heavy, heavy inspirations. And if you've already read all of those and you've got a book or a movie or a comic or something that you think that I should check out, hit me up. Tweet at me, all right? Because I'm hyped to read more. I always want more cool shit. So please, like, aim that trash my way, because I'm about it. That's it for today. We are done. We are done with today's stream. I am gonna go. I'm taking tomorrow off, and then I will be back on Sunday for the Dungeon World first time ever Blue Jay GMing extravaganza. Sunday at 1 o'clock Pacific. If you're watching this on YouTube, go to Blue Jay's channel. Check it out there. I will see you next time, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Watch out for asteroids. Don't spend all your psionic power points in one place. We will see you next time. Bye, everybody.